Yeah, my name is Marley. Some of you know me, sorry. Some of you know me, some of you don't. But yeah, I've been fortunate enough to call Lismore my home for the past 3 years, and I would also like to acknowledge that we stand on Wujibwa Waiba country. Their sovereignty was never ceded, and as we talk about human rights, as we talk about the climate crisis, as we talk about all of the really distressing things that are going on in the world, it is so important that we continue to recognise Indigenous peoples on this country and country all across this continent, and bring them to the forefront of the conversation around all of these topics. Um, yeah, so a big part of the reason why we're all here is because of these new protest laws, as well as all of the other human rights issues. I'm fortunate enough to be a good friend of Violet. And yeah, she's someone who came here to help this community recover from the floods. She came here to help people build walls and has become such a beautiful part of my world here and so many other people's worlds here. She is a beautiful person who is deeply dedicated to finding a future for all of us where we can exist with this earth and not dominating this earth. Yeah, and I feel very blessed to know her and completely and utterly outraged that she is currently sitting in a cell under these punitive, disgusting laws, and it is so important that we continue to talk about freedom and the rights to protest. We call ourselves a democracy, and we are locking up peaceful protesters asking for our governments to protect us from the same things that they are causing to happen for us. And I got word earlier, just before I came up here, that Violet's getting out of isolation today under the COVID regulations, and as a beautiful person that she has been singing and meditating and dancing, and she's been having birds coming and visiting her and singing with her while she's sitting in that cell. And for me, that just melts my heart and shows the beauty and the power of someone who stands up for this earth and all of the magic that can come from that. So, yeah, Shibo mentioned that, I also, I blocked the harbour tunnel and was due to be sentenced under those laws. I was excused from being processed through the criminal justice system under Section 14, which is part of the Mental Health Act. I was recognised as having trauma and anxiety as part of the climate crisis that we're all in, and I think it's such an important thing not to shy away from. It's uncomfortable to talk about, but we all have a very good reason to be scared. Young people have been told our whole lives that we are going to see hell on earth, is the words that are used. And I think that outrage and fear and taking action are really important things to acknowledge and to do, and that as a community we can hold each other through that. We can take care of each other. We can look to each other for support where we are not being supported by our government systems. It is okay to go and demand change. It is okay to take to the streets and ask our government systems that say that they are here to protect us. It's okay to ask them to change what they're doing to protect us, to give us a future, to allow our young people to create, to dream, to exist, and to not be scared. And I think that, I won't be up here for long. But I think it's also really important to acknowledge that the reason why we do these things is because there's something worth fighting for. This earth is worth fighting for. All of the people here are worth fighting for. All of our communities, all of the people across this country that are standing up, everyone who's doing everything, we're worth fighting for. Our futures are worth taking a stand for, and this beautiful planet that we're all blessed to live on is worth taking a stand. And so thank you all for showing up today and for allowing me this opportunity to speak. And to keep saying Violet's name. It's so important that we get her out and that we stand for all of our rights to protest. And thank you.
Free Violet! Free Violet!